What's up, everybody? Jordan Stewart here from Vover. Thanks so much for tapping into the Vover Original Show. Just a reminder that if you want to drop your opinions about the episode or respond to the host and guests with your voice, go and download the Vover app wherever you get your apps. Vover, voice over everything. Enjoyed the show.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to this Wednesday edition of the Vover Sports Card Show. I am your host, Frank Hrelja. Today we talk about Carmelo Anthony signing with the Lakers, how that's affected his market in the last 24 hours, and once we're done with that, I want to talk about football cards because I believe that there's a lot of opportunities to be had right now. So first, the big news going around the basketball world right now is that Carmelo signed with the Lakers yesterday, and if you listened to the show on Monday, I was warning you guys that this was probably going to happen. I couldn't see any other team that Carmelo would realistically sign for. A lot of people were saying the Knicks, but if he went there, it would have been cool because he obviously spent the majority of his prime on the Knicks, but they weren't going to win a championship. I did not see Carmelo Anthony passing up the opportunity to playing alongside LeBron, and I was looking at his card market saying it was 20% of what it was at all-time highs, and we know Carmelo is going to sign somewhere. Buy his cards now before all the news occurs. And in the last 24 hours, looking at all the card sales that have occurred, it looks like his card market's up about 20 to 25% from where it was. So if you were just buying Topps Chrome, Topps Space rookie cards, that stuff is clearly up right now. I was looking at his Topps Space rookie card PSA 9. A PSA 10 was selling for $200 when we were talking on the show on Monday. Now a PSA 9 is selling for $90 to $100. So big price jumps. That means the PSA 10's around $300. And I think a lot of people made money anticipating this news, which makes me want to talk to you guys about football because you should never find yourself reacting. When we're looking at Carmelo Anthony right now, that's exactly what people are doing. You want to be buying the players' cards before all the anticipation happens because the news occurring is what's going to make his card prices jump. And all we're hearing right now is Carmelo Anthony's a top 10 scorer ever. Carmelo Anthony was out of the NBA, came back, reinvented his game, and now he's going to have the chance to win his first championship ever alongside LeBron, the other superstar from that 2003 class. It's an amazing storyline to hear, and that's why people are buying up his cards right now. But if you're buying his cards today and you're scrambling to find stuff, you put yourself at risk to falling into FOMO. And that's why I want to talk about football cards today, because I think the lessons learned from Carmelo over these last few days can be applied to the football card market, because I remember I talked about Matt Stafford on the show probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and I was surprised about how much his card prices rose. If you were just looking at his main premier flagship stuff, basic Topps Chrome refractors, that stuff was up 10x from where it was back in November. And now we're looking at Matt Stafford cards today, and they're still really near all-time highs. And I'm looking at the situation around the Rams, and I just don't see how there's upside left in the situation. All the money that was made was in the people that were buying Matt Stafford cards during the middle of last season when the Lions weren't good and nobody cared about him, to then being able to sell these cards when everybody got excited that he signed with the Rams, because now he is on a top 10 team in football, and he has the ability to win a Super Bowl, which would be massive for his legacy. But paying today's prices, you don't get upside anymore. His card prices have gone up 10x. And I'm looking at the Rams as a team, and Cam Akers tore his Achilles a couple weeks ago. That's a massive blow to the team. We know this Rams offense over the last couple years, they've depended on the running game. And you're going to hold up Matt Stafford card prices the same level that they were just a few weeks ago, not going to really go down at all. And we're just going to assume that Darrell Henderson is going to be able to be the lead back in the NFC West. Look at the Rams division. They play the 49ers twice, they play the Arizona Cardinals twice, and they play the Seattle Seahawks twice. The worst team in the division is probably Arizona. You're looking at a team who has Kyler Murray in his third year who's trending up with DeAndre Hopkins, and they just added J.J. Watt. And that's probably the worst team you're going to have to face in your division. But I'm looking at something like Matt Stafford's Topps Chrome rookie card PSA 9. This card was $249 about 3 weeks ago. And now just a couple days ago, even after the Cam Akers news happened, the card sold again for $249. So this card's at the exact same point. I think this is a clear situation where people aren't really paying attention to the facts. If you really look deep into the Rams, there's a lot of reasons to be concerned. But right now, people are just going to hold Matt Stafford cards, and everybody's just going to have the simple narrative that the Rams made the Super Bowl a couple years ago. They swapped out Jared Goff with Matt Stafford. Now they're going to be a better team. Matt Stafford has the chance to become a true superstar. And based on his current card prices, based on what's truly going on with his Rams roster, I think it's a disaster waiting to happen. And if you hold Matt Stafford cards into the season, you have to cross your fingers that he plays great. And if he does that, maybe at best you'll break even. But his card prices today, based on the narrative that people are giving, it just can't get any better. You want to be buying into guys where they're at a price point where it's clear that all the discussion around the player and the excitement can still go up. It's all about weighing risk and reward. It's all about thinking about the narratives around the player. And if you're thinking from this perspective, I think it's going to have you have a lot more wins in this sports card game than losses. It takes time. Everybody gets their bumps and bruises. People make bad plays. People act out of FOMO sometimes. But I think the longer that you're in this hobby, the more predictable that things feel. And I'm looking at someone like Lawrence Taylor right now, and I'm thinking about what happened to his card prices last year, where in August and September, after we saw all modern players rise, we saw tons of quarterbacks rise, we saw Lawrence Taylor cards go insane because people looked at his card market relative to other legends and were saying he's the best defensive player of all time. We look at Lawrence Taylor's resume, 10-time Pro Bowler, 8-time All-Pro, league MVP, the last defensive player to win league MVP, 2-time Super Bowl champion, arguably the best defensive player in league history. And we saw his card prices being a fraction of what all these superstar quarterbacks were. So what happened? People then started to buy his cards, and we're seeing literally the exact same thing happening again. History repeats itself. I do believe that happens in the sports card market. And we look at his iconic 1982 Topps rookie card at a BGS 9.5. This card most recently sold for $863. If we look at what this card sold for on New Year's Eve back in 2020, this card was $3,000. This is the lowest sale we've seen since the end of October last year when we had a midseason dip in football cards. And I'm looking at an LT iconic Topps rookie card that any football fan from the 80s would recognize in a BGS 9.5 gem mid grade. This card is selling for less than what a Matt Stafford Topps Chrome rookie card PSA 10 is selling for. There are so many opportunities in sports cards if you're looking in the right places. The majority of people in sports cards, or at least the majority of new people in sports cards, they find themselves jumping on all the modern news, everything that's going on day to day, when the people that are winning are the people that are anticipating this. When I was at the Chicago National show last week, the longtime hobbyists who have been super successful, they aren't running around right now trying to buy Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield. What they're doing is they're seeing guys like Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, they're seeing their card prices be up right now, and they're buying guys like LT, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, because they believe that those guys' markets are going to react to the increase in price that the modern players have had, and at the exact same time, you're buying proven superstars where you don't have to worry about injuries or player performance. If you're buying a random wide receiver who's expected to have a breakout year, for all you know, he could hurt his leg in training camp, miss the entire season, and you just lost 80% of your money. And this is my number one goal on this show to you guys, is to give you guys trends before they happen, so you could be buying really cool cards when they're not at all-time high prices, where there's more upside in them, and you don't find yourself chasing. So I appreciate you listening to this Wednesday edition of the Vover Sports Card Show. I am your host, Frank Hrelja. I'll be back again on Friday.